Hey guys, this is Jesse here with 6 Speed Media, and today I'm back with y'all again to work on my F150. I don't think I've ever properly introduced this project, but it is my grandpa's 1977 F150. He bought when he was new that he bought brand new. And it's been in the family ever since. And I ended up with it, so. What's actually going on with this project right now is this truck came with a 351 modified, which is basically just a tall deck Cleveland. And it was having some issues. I was losing some oil right here in this general area. And I thought I had a cracked block. But what was happening is this fuel pump, not this specific one, but this style fuel pump, has a little port on the side here. And what it was doing, it was shooting oil everywhere. So I thought I had a cracked block right here around my oil filter area. But I pulled it out, checked it over. There's no cracks in the block. And I rebuilt this exact motor right here, which is a 400, same block as a 351 modified. And I put the same fuel pump back on it. I don't know why I cheaped out and just put the same fuel pump back on it. I reckon because I had a gasket in the kit and I just put it on there. But what had happened is this motor had the same problem. And I was like, there's no way I had the same problem twice. So I got to looking, and it ended up being my fuel pump. So, needless to say, I kind of built a motor I didn't really need to build. Lesson learned there. But I ended up getting a new block anyways, and 400 crank, and TMYERS, or Timothy Myers, flat top pistons, and I put factory heads back on it. And this motor with a 255 dual energy comp cam and a EDELBROCK 4-barrel intake, this motor made pretty good power. It's got 275 gears in the rear end of it. It's always been kind of a dog, to say. And I've never changed the gears in the rear end of it, which that's going to be in a future video, hopefully. But with all that, this truck made pretty good powers. It would, if on a good day, it would burn tires off if you just stomped it. But I had the factory heads on here, and it's had some issues with white smoke coming out my right, because I have true duals on this truck, so anything that happens on one bank I can see completely separate from the other bank. So I was seeing a lot of white smoke coming out of this side, and it always had that sweet smell like antifreeze. Well, what I'd found is it's not those heads, it's these in the truck here. These are my factory heads. Well, I think one of them is factory. I think the other one, because this 351 modified in here dropped the valve a couple times. But what had happened is inside, right under here, inside the port, has a crack in the intake valve. It was sucking coolant into the intake port and dumping it right into one of the passenger side cylinders. So instead of wasting money on a stock head, which don't really perform anyways, I was like, well, now's a good time to go ahead and do a cam head swap. Because I've always kind of been like, the cam ain't quite big enough for this motor. It feels like it needs to breathe more, and I've been putting it off and putting it off because I didn't really want to put a cam in it after I just built the motor. But the motor's been together for about 4 years now, and I was like, well, I've got to pull the heads off anyways. Now's as good as time as any to go ahead and do it, because if I don't, I won't never do it. So what I've done is I went ahead and purchased my cam, got my cam installed. I planned on using factory heads until I found out they were cracked. So I went ahead and got this right. Got me a set of EDELBROCK, I believe they're RPM cylinder heads. Supposed to be out of the box, ready to bolt on. Let's see if I can find a part number for you. There it is. It is the 61629 RPM cylinder head for a 2-barrel Cleveland engine, which is the same as the 400 351 modified. It'll bolt right on. It'll use my same EDELBROCK intake. But I went ahead and painted them blue, obviously, because I like aluminum, but after a while it's just a pain to keep clean and all, so they're painted already. It's going to give me screw and studs and guide plates and all that, but I would just want to give y'all a parts overview. So I'm going to go with these heads, which they're as cast heads. They got CNC profiling for the beginning of the ports, but as far as that goes, they're cast the rest of the way. And then as far as the cam went, I'm going with a 224 at 50 duration cam. It's just something a little bit bigger than what I had in here. I had a 255 in it, so I wanted to go up. I'm putting a 270 in it now. And since I'm going with aluminum heads, I figured I'd go ahead and get some decent bolts. I'm spending $2,500 on a set of heads. $100 set of bolts is a no-brainer. And being I'm going with screw and stud and guide plates, I need to go ahead and get me some hardened push rods. These are Comp Cams Magnums. There's your number right there. Single piece push rods, hardened. That way I ain't got no issues with guide plate problems. And I went with Scorpion rocker arms because they look pretty, and they're lifetime warranty. They're a good product. They've got a nice little cutout for your springs, to clear your springs, which they clear pretty much no problem. Got plenty of clearance there. Even if I drop it all the way down, I still have plenty of clearance. There's no problem with it hitting retainer or anything right there, which it'll probably be sitting right about here. I've already measured push rods and all. I stuck a head on just kind of get a measurement. That's about where they sit, right about here, which is about what you want. But being aluminum heads and all, I went ahead and got some good head gaskets. I got some Cometic multi-layer steel head gaskets. These are your part numbers for that, since I get my fingers out of the way. That's your part numbers for that. And all this was all bought from either Summit or Jags or Amazon, all that. But as far as the rest of the gaskets go, I'm going with Felpro rubber valve cover gaskets, a Felpro Valley pan, because I prefer to keep the hole off the bottom of the intake. It might be a little bit of pain being that these don't have the, that's another thing, these don't have the little pin in here to locate that. So this may be a little bit of pain to put in. So if you look at the factory heads, they have a dowel pin right there that locates that when you stick it on. But that's a quick introduction to the 77 Ford project, and quick overview of all the parts that we're going to put in here. And got any questions on parts, what I'm going with, and why I'm going with that, just leave a comment and ask away. But also those heads also require a different set of spark plugs, which I will actually include in my next video, because I'm not sure where I put them. They're somewhere, but it recommends, I believe, a Bosch plug or something like that, but I prefer NGK. over Bosch. So I'll actually include that part number and all that in the next video when I go to install them. That way y'all can see what I'm running, see if that's what y'all would prefer, or however that would go. But thank y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one.